When was the last time water appeared in your dream? Not a glass of water on a table, not a vague sense of wetness, a river, a well, rain, the sea, flooding through a door. Think about it for a moment. Most people, when I ask that question, go quiet, because they have dreamed of water recently, and they have never been told what that means. Solomon's tradition had a specific answer, and it was not what you think. Let me tell you what I mean by Solomon's tradition. Not the Book of Kings, not Proverbs, not the Song of Songs. There is a body of text that sits at the edge of the canonical scriptures, the Talmud, the great record of rabbinic interpretation and memory, which preserves something the Bible itself does not. A working system, a practical, documented framework for understanding what the mind and the soul encounter during sleep. Tractate Berakhot, sections 55b through 57a. The third chapter of that tractate. This is not a marginal passage. This is not a footnote in a forgotten commentary. Tractate Berakhot is one of the most studied sections of the entire Babylonian Talmud. It opens with the timing of the evening prayer. It moves through the obligations of the nighttime hours. And then in those pages that begin at 55b, it shifts into territory that most modern readers pass over without fully absorbing what they are reading. A dream dictionary, not metaphorical, not vague, specific water types, specific meanings, specific responses. The Talmud that preserves Solomon's entire intellectual tradition, because the rabbis who compiled it positioned themselves as heirs to the Solomonic wisdom tradition, contains one of the most precise dream interpretation systems ever recorded, and water is at its center. Berakhot 56b says this: "One who sees a well in a dream, there will be peace." That is the first statement. It is precise. It is not hedged. A well, not water in general, not the sea, not a river, a well. And the commentary builds on it. A well in a dream, the tradition teaches, signifies more than personal peace. It signifies the discovery of Torah, of wisdom, of the living resource. A well is contained water, deep water, water reached by effort. You do not stumble upon a well. You descend to a well. You lower something into the darkness, and you bring up what is there. The well in your dream is that. It is the announcement that something which was hidden is about to become available to you. Something deep, something requiring effort to reach. Peace, in this tradition, is not the absence of difficulty. It is the presence of depth. When Solomon's tradition says you will have peace, it is not saying nothing difficult is coming. It is saying you are about to reach something real. The river is different. Berakhot 56b treats the river separately, and it does so with a care that suggests the rabbis were describing something they had observed closely. One who sees a river in a dream, it carries both peace and protection. But the river has a dual valence that the well does not. The well is contained. The river moves, and moving water in Solomon's framework carries both the blessing of flow and the danger of uncontrolled force. The tradition is precise about this distinction. A river flowing calmly, peace is coming. A river in flood, something is arriving with overwhelming force. The river in your dream is a force in motion. It is not asking for your participation. It is announcing what is already moving. And here is the thing that stops me every time I return to this passage. The Talmud does not say the meaning is fixed. It does not say if you dream of a river, then this will happen. Full stop, nothing you can do. It says the meaning can be directed. The protective verses exist. The Solomonic tradition built in a window that the rabbis called, in the language of Berakhot 55b, the principle of the mouth. This is the central discovery. And I want to take you to it slowly, because it changes everything about how you understand dreams within Solomon's tradition. Berakhot 55b states, as an operating principle, all dreams follow the mouth. 4 words. Do not pass over them. All dreams follow the mouth. The meaning is this: the dream is not determined at the moment you dream it. The dream is not a sealed prophecy delivered while you sleep, fixed in its meaning, immutable, regardless of what you do afterward. The dream follows the mouth. It follows what is spoken about it after you wake. The first interpretation given to a water dream, the first words spoken about it, the first framing placed upon what the dreamer saw, shapes the direction the dream will take in the waking world. Solomon's tradition does not say that dreaming of water means something will happen. It says something is already approaching. The dream is the announcement. And you are not the audience, you are the gatekeeper. Take a moment with that, because if that principle is accurate, if what the Talmud records in Berakhot 55b represents something Solomon's tradition actually understood about the relationship between dreaming and waking reality, then the moment you wake from a water dream and begin to speak is not merely the start of another day, it is a decision. I have been sitting with this for a long time, and I want to tell you about the morning I understood it through someone who had never read a word of the Talmud. Nsukka, southeastern Nigeria, 1977. I am 9 years old, my mother's older sister. My aunt, Nozi, comes to stay with us for a week. She is a woman of very few words, not unfriendly, just exact. Every word she uses, she means. The morning after her first night in our house, I am in the kitchen early. Children wake early in the compound, and I hear my aunt speaking quietly to my mother before breakfast. She says in Igbo, "Obu Osimiri," it was the river. My mother stops what she is doing. She looks at her sister for a moment. She says nothing back, just that look, the kind of look that means, I understand. I'm watching now. 3 days later, a letter arrives from their home village. My grandfather, my mother's father, my aunt's father, has died quietly in his sleep. My aunt had not known he was ill. There had been no telegram, no news of deterioration. She had simply dreamed of the river. She had named it at the breakfast table the morning after, and then she had watched. I am 9 years old. I do not understand what has happened. I file it somewhere in myself under the category of things that are not yet explained. My mother does not explain it to me then. She is grieving, but she is not surprised. 22 years later, SOS, London, 2000. I am in my second year of doctoral research, working on a seminar paper about demonology and the Talmudic tradition. I'm reading Tractate Berakhot, not for the dream material initially, but for the adjacent passages about the nighttime hours and their spiritual significance in Second Temple Judaism. I reach 55b, I read the dream principles. I read the water passages in 56b through 57a. I read the well. I read the river. I read the dual valence. And then I read, all dreams follow the mouth. I stop. I'm sitting in the SOS library with manuscripts and photocopies spread across the desk around me, and I stop completely. My aunt, the breakfast table, the Igbo words, Obu Osimiri. She did not approach her dream with fear. She did not avoid naming it. She named it precisely. It was the river, not just water, not just a dream, the river. And then she fell quiet. And then she watched the 3-day window. She was not superstitious. She was not performing a ritual she did not understand. She was applying a protocol that the Talmudic rabbis encoded from a tradition that descended from Solomon. And she had learned it from her mother, who learned it from hers, in a lineage of Igbo women in southeastern Nigeria who had no access to Berakhot 56b and did not need it. I wrote in my notebook, she was not superstitious. She was applying a protocol. I wrote it, and I sat with it. And what I understood was this: the Talmudic principle, all dreams follow the mouth, and my aunt's quiet naming of her dream at the breakfast table are not one tradition borrowing from another. They are two people, separated by centuries and oceans, who arrived at the same observation about how dreaming and waking reality connect. Because it is not a cultural artifact, it is an observation about something real. Let me show you what Solomon's tradition says about the specific types of water, because the distinction matters. Berakhot 56b and 57a record water dreams with a precision that suggests the rabbis had collected and analyzed them carefully. First, still water versus moving water. The well is still, or rather, the well holds water that is not in motion. What makes a well what it is, contained, deep, reachable, is precisely that the water stays. The river moves, it does not ask. It was already moving before you dreamed it. This is not a decorative distinction. It runs through the entire Solomonic water system. In the Talmudic passage on Pesachim 112a, a different tractate, different context, the tradition warns about uncovered still water at night. Water left uncovered in darkness becomes a threshold, a doorway. Moving water carries different significance. Rivers in the Solomonic apotropaic tradition, the tradition of protection, are forces that both carry and threaten. The Solomonic system asks, which kind of water did you dream? Second, clear water versus murky water. The Ibn Sirin tradition, the great 8th century Islamic dream interpretation system that descends directly through the Solomonic lineage, is specific about this in a way that the Talmud implies, but does not always state explicitly. Clear water, joy, provision, blessing arriving in clarity. Murky water, hardship or confusion arriving without clear form. A flood, overwhelming force reaching you without preparation. Rain, the quality of the rain matters. Soft rain is mercy. Violent rain is warning. Ibn Sirin's system is still consulted across West Africa today, in Nigeria, in Ghana, in the broader diaspora. It is not an archive, it is a living practice, and its architecture is identical to what the Talmudic tradition records from Solomon. Two traditions, one system. Third, contained versus uncontrolled. A well is contained, a cistern is contained, a pool is contained. You can see its edges, you know where it ends. A river has no visible end in a dream. The sea has no edges at all. Flooding, water entering where it was not, is water that has escaped containment entirely. Solomon's tradition treats these three distinctions, still or moving, clear or murky, contained or uncontrolled, as the diagnostic framework for what the dream is announcing. You are not reading omens. You are reading a signal about what category of event is approaching, and the first step is simply knowing which kind of water came to you. I want to pause here and say something directly to the person watching this who has already dreamed of water this week, not some time in the past. This week, you know who you are. You may have woken from it unsettled, not knowing quite why. Or you may have woken calm, carrying a faint sense of something significant that dissolved by the time you made coffee. Solomon's tradition has a word for what you are in right now. It calls it the window. Berakhot 55b does not simply state that all dreams follow the mouth. As a theological principle with no practical implication, it implies a period, a time between the dream and its crystallization in the waking world, during which the dreamer's first spoken response participates in shaping what the dream becomes. Joseph dreamed of sheaves and stars at the age of 17. The tradition notes in the same passage that his dream took 22 years to fulfill. Not 22 years of passivity, 22 years during which the dream moved through its stages toward what it had announced. For most water dreams, the window is much shorter. The Talmudic tradition observes that significant dreams typically begin manifesting within 3 days in minor form. The 3-day window. You have it. If you dreamed of water recently, you are inside it now. Here is what Solomon's tradition says to do with that window. 3 steps. I'm going to give them to you exactly as the system specifies, not as abstract principles, but as actions. Step 1. Identify the water type. Before you speak to anyone else about the dream, identify which category of water appeared. Was it a well, contained, deep, still, or nearly still? Was it a river, moving, directional, with flow you could feel? Was it the sea or ocean, vast, edgeless, containing forces beyond view? Was it rain, falling from above, covering everything it touched? Was it flooding, water entering where it was not invited? Was it a cistern or pool, contained but open to the sky? You do not need to remember every detail of the dream. You need to answer one question. Was the water moving or contained? Was it clear or murky? Was it in control or out of control? Those 3 distinctions are the diagnostic grid. Well or contained still water. Something deep is being made available to you. Peace and wisdom arriving from a source that required descending. Clear river. A force of change is already in motion. moving toward you, or carrying you forward. The tradition says this arrives within the 3-day window in its initial form. Murky river, change arriving without clarity. Something is in motion, but its final form is not yet determined. This is where the mouth principle matters most. The sea, vast incoming force. The specific meaning depends on the emotional quality of the dream. Calm sea, Ecclesiastes 1:7 territory, the river returning to the sea, cyclical completion. Storm sea, warning of overwhelming force arriving without preparation. Rain, if soft, mercy arriving. If violent, divine correction incoming. Flooding, the most urgent signal. Something is arriving that will move through every available space. The tradition does not say flooding is always destruction. It says flooding is force that cannot be redirected by ordinary means. Step 2. Speak before the dream crystallizes. This is the mouth principle applied. Before you discuss the dream with anyone, before the coffee, before the phone, before any other voice enters, you speak it, alone, in your own language, in your own words. The tradition does not prescribe a formula. It prescribes an act. State what kind of water came. State what you believe it is announcing, in the most favorable, truthful frame. And then say, let what is coming arrive in blessing. Not as a magic phrase, not as a formula copied from a text, as a genuine statement of what you want the dream's approach to look like. The Talmudic teaching behind this is precise. In Berakhot 55b, the rabbis discuss a specific ritual that exists for negative dreams, a ritual of transformation performed in the presence of others. The dream is acknowledged, redirected, and released, but for water dreams specifically, the individual act is available first, before the 3-day window closes, before the initial manifestation arrives. You have spoken. You have named the water. You have named what you believe it announces. You have said, let this arrive in blessing. The dream no longer follows only its own trajectory. It follows your mouth. Step 3. Watch the 3-day window. This is not passive waiting. The tradition teaches that the waking world responds to the dream's announcement within 3 days, in minor form. Not the full event, the signal. A phone call from someone unexpected. A conversation that opens a door. A piece of news arriving from an unexpected direction. A small moment of peace arriving after a period of difficulty. These are not coincidences to be dismissed. In Solomon's framework, these are the dream reporting back, confirming what category of approach was announced. You watch for them, not with anxiety, not scanning for disaster, with the attention of someone who has been told something is coming and wants to understand what it is when it arrives. Now let me show you why this system appears in traditions that had no access to each other. Ecclesiastes 1:7, Solomon's own voice. All the rivers run into the sea, yet the sea is not full. Unto the place from whence the rivers come, thither they return again. This is not a geographical observation. Solomon, in the book attributed to him, is describing the fundamental nature of what moves through the world. Everything returns. The river that appears in your dream is not an isolated event. It is part of a cycle that has a direction. What came around before is returning. What is about to arrive has been here in a different form. The water dream in Solomon's theological framework, not just the practical dream dictionary, but the deeper theology of Ecclesiastes, is not a random message from a random night. It is the announcement that a cycle is completing or beginning. The river that came to you in sleep may be carrying something back that left your life in a previous season. Or it may be announcing the beginning of a movement that will not stop until it has reached where it is going. This is why the Igbo women in Nsukka and the rabbis in Babylon arrived at the same response. My aunt said, it was the river. And then she watched. She did not panic. She did not try to outrun it. She named it and she waited with her eyes open. Because in both traditions, the dreamer's role is not to stop what is coming. The dreamer's role is to receive it consciously. You cannot prevent the river from moving, but you can be standing on the bank when it arrives, rather than being swept in unprepared. The dream is the early announcement. The naming is the preparation. The 3-day window is the grace period. I want to say one more thing before I close. When I sat in that SOS library in 2000 and read All Dreams Follow the Mouth and thought of my aunt at the breakfast table in Nasuka, the thought that stayed with me was not the parallel. The thought that stayed was the elegance of it. Most systems of dream interpretation position the dreamer as a reader. You receive the dream, you look up what it means, you wait for the event. Solomon's system positions the dreamer as a participant. You receive the dream, you identify what kind of water came, you speak about it consciously in the window before it crystallizes. You watch for the announcement to manifest. You are not passive. You are the gatekeeper of your own approach. The dream is not doing something to you. The dream is speaking to you. And Solomon said, "Speak back." In the first moments of waking, with the water still vivid in your mind, before the day claims you and the ordinary noise of hours begins, speak back. Name the water. Name what you believe it is carrying. Say what you want the arrival to look like. Because in Solomon's tradition, the person who names the water is not merely interpreting a dream. They are participating in what the dream becomes. And so I return to the question I began with. When was the last time water appeared in your dream? Do you have the answer now? Not just what the dream might mean, what you can do with it. The well that appeared to you is not finished speaking. The river that moved through your sleeping mind is still moving in this waking world, towards something. You know which kind of water came. You know what category of event that water announces. You know you have a window. The mouth principle is not ancient theory. It is this morning. It is the next 3 days. The water that came to you in the night is moving towards something. Solomon knew what it was. Now you do too. Sleep well tonight. Or perhaps you will find yourself lying awake thinking about what kind of water came to you and what you want to say about it before the window closes.